Hello YouTube. We just saw was a headshot strikers Achilles Pulse Dodge City holster build. Mostly just specking strikers with headshots, which may sound a little bit confusing because everyone loves their crit chance. So layout wise that looks like this, with 4 pieces of strikers, all with headshots, 3 headshot mods on everything. I'm missing 0.3 headshot damage on my mask mod, so it can go higher, but headshot with Bighorn is at 204.7, that would go up to 205 with the extra 0.3. With something like Oro, wherever Oro's there, it would go up to 160. Just, you know, there you go, there's what you need to aim for. We're running contractors as well, and then kind of the star of the show is Dodge City Gunslinger's holster. Naturally curated all with headshot damage. It's built for headshots, that's the whole point. There are a few alternate things you can do, I'll go over them in a sec. Next most important thing is the Achilles Pulse. This is going to give you a whole lot of damage. It's going to like Fallout mark, if anyone's played Fallout, it's going to Fallout mark all the different kind of body parts of the enemy that you choose, and then when you shoot that body part, like that, it does more damage, plenty more damage than a regular headshot. That was with Dodge City stacks, but whatever. Next, this is where the specialization comes in. Specialization is Firewall for the shield. Shield is just going to give you a little bit more extra bonus damage. Actually, if you're in an Incursion, which is where this build is a little bit stronger, I would say, in Heroic or something like that, you get a little bit more. It goes from 1, which is what we're at, to 2.5 buff strength, which take it up to, what is that, 9.5 per enemy. And in, you know, in Incursion with the Lovebirds, that's an extra 20% damage basically, especially when you can pair it with this. Mine's only at 3, I think it goes up to 5, maybe 4, but you want to be looking out for a shield mod with damage bonus per enemy. There you go. Other things you can run: Revive Hive, second chance, do what you want. Not much else you can run really. If you need extra healing or something, I don't know, drone, fix a drone, chem launcher, whatever. As for weapons, you've got a lot of options here. The Bighorn is a go-to. You know, 150% extra headshot damage, 25 stacks. That's pretty good. It comes with a built-in headshot damage that goes all the way up to a nice casual 354.7 or 355. It's quite good. Other things, it's gonna ruin my headshot multiplier, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Ouroboros. It's gonna keep your crit quite high. You get 36 crit with a, you know, coyotes, 2 coyotes, 2 coyotes. Get that up to a comfortable. It's going to give you 35, so it's going to take you to cap, or, I mean, close to cap if they're 15 meters away. Max striker stacks for both these weapons is very high. I'm just going to show you Ouroboros. Max striker stacks, no modifier. It's pretty good. It's comfortable. 80 million DPS. In my opinion, it shines a lot more with the Bighorn, just because of that extra headshot damage. Takes it all the way up to a lovely 2.379. Wow, per shot. That's roughly 25 mil DPS. So that's pretty good. One of the most important parts of the build is going to be the pistol and the holster. Holster talent is going to give you up to 1,000 extra damage when you first pull out your pistol. It's also going to instantly headshot, which we have headshot. So 1,000 extra damage, 1,000% extra damage is pretty helpful. And then because we are pulsing, we can use flatline on our harvest. Harvest is a named pistol, has a little bit extra damage than something like D50. D50 and the Magnum are usable, but they're just kind of fall second best to something like the Harvest or the Regulus. You can see the Regulus is still pulling ahead in terms of single shot damage in front of the Harvest, but because the Harvest has flatline, it keeps up. 50% of this is way more than this. So for your Harvest, you want Detox. Detox is still your friend, but flatline is probably one of the more important things, but just having the Harvest in general is pretty important. Gameplay wise, the rotation looks like this. You build stacks with your ACS. This is a Brazen ACS for a little more damage. Lots of bonus damage. Detox, of course, on everything. Detox is your friend. This is terrible roll, but it has 170 headshot damage. So you build your stacks, and then when you build your stacks up with your shield, of course, and then you either drop the bighorn, start doing damage to Martinez or Ray or whatever, and then you Achilles pulse with your pistol, bang, over 120 million damage. Alternate ways to run this build is you swap your gloves and you put on the Sacrifice for Perfect Glass Cannon or PGC. That is going to be, I give you another 30%, but you are losing the 200 striker stacks. So as you can see on screen, it's a little bit lower than Contractors. Contractors is just a good base mark. You don't have to do anything special with Contractors. Just going to give you free damage. And then another way to run it is if you put your backpack to either a Habsburg, you can try and get a Unicorn Habsburg with Vigilance, headshot damage, and then swap this. It's a little bit harder than, it might not be harder depending on how good you are at the Dark Zone, but this is the gift, Dark Zone exclusive. You can get it from named item caches though, which is quite good, but it's going to give you perfect vigilance. You can run a regular vigilance if you can get a regular Providence backpack with vigilance on it. The perfect is just going to reduce this to 3 seconds. But as you can see, it's a big jump up. The 200 stacks is giving you roughly, 130% weapon damage for this, and then you get another 25 amp, or not 25 amp, total weapon damage increased by 25. So it's, however you want to take that, it's better than Contractors is the bottom line. Using this build in the Incursion, because a little like this, you don't really need it for turrets or tanker. First two encounters are pretty easy. There's a backfire build you can use for tankers, makes it pretty trivial. So you go ahead, start damage, you try and build striker stacks while he's immune, and then you pulse and tap the hitbox. Obviously if this was a better run, we'd have a future initiative with BTSU overcharging so you could shoot anywhere, on rate because it gives you extra hit points if you're overcharged, as well as extra damage. But for a non-overcharged, non-max striker stacks, you're looking at around 125 million, which is pretty good. Another incursion damage phase. This one is going to be mostly just me doing the damage, just building stacks. You start off with your shotgun, 711,000 per pellet here. Pulse, tap him in the leg for 100 million, and then you can see it was mostly me for that entire damage phase, which is pretty good. So I'm just going to leave this countdown playing in the background for the rest of the video. You can see I'm hitting some really just humongous numbers. It's kind of comparable to a backfire build, except you kind of control how much you do, because every single headshot is going to do the big number instead of just hoping that you crit. Depending on the countdown buffs active per countdown, you can look at probably 4.5 to 5 million headshot damage. I mean, if you get the headshot damage and the close range one, it's you can easily just one mag named enemies with the big horn. So the build is strong. You know, roughly, I think I was hitting 600k white, which I mean, it's not terrible. You know, my backfire build hits for less than that non-crit, so there's definitely, you know, I mean, that is just got deleted. I didn't miss a single headshot. This is obviously with the modifier active. You can pretty much just run around the map. You can have ongoing directive, they're active as well. But the main point of the build is to build stacks and shoot heads a lot. In Countdown especially, you can one-tap named enemies like... Anyway, that was my Headshot Strikers build. Please take whatever you want from this video and, you know, enjoy. Bye bye. Subscribe and like.
Area secure. Agent, you should be able to access the turbine now.